How's it going there, Film Fights with Friends fans? I am Paul Varacchi, and I'm here with my co-host.
I am Steven Koepfer.
That's
What's up,
who
Paul?
he is.
Yo, dude. Another good episode. This is a fun one.
This is really fun. I feel like we have two guests on the show coming on. We have two returning guests. We have Hugh Fitzgerald and Becca GT.
Season 1, Episode 4,
Yes.
and Season 1, Episode 1, our very first guest ever.
Yes. And they're coming back for a roundtable, and we are going to talk about our worst remake, best remake, in our opinion, ever made, and with a special bonus question, which I will ruin in the first 5 minutes of the episode.
Yes, but the remake roundtable with our past guests, it was a fun. It was really fun into a discussion into what actually is a remake.
Yeah,
You know?
I almost feel like we can extend this episode a little bit to get some answers from our audience. Actually, if we have a few questions, is what do you consider a remake, and what do you consider not a remake? Is a book, is a remake, is a movie that's made off of a book, and then they remake.
They do another
movie
based off of the same book.
Is that a remake of the movie, or is that another imaging of the book? So why don't you guys let us know and hit us up in the comments?
Or is a TV series into a film a remake, or a film into a TV series a remake? Or we came up with some interesting scenarios. Like, is this really a remake or not? But I think I don't know. We have to go back and listen to it. But a majority of the choices of films, I think Becca's the only one who didn't choose a film that originally was a book.
I think you're right.
I think me, you, and Hugh Fitzgerald all picked films that were originally a book.
Well, technically, mine wasn't a book. It was an article in Esquire magazine called Rollerball Murder.
Right.
So it was more of a
I mean, mine was a novella. It wasn't a full book.
Right. So it kind of basically that's what it was. It was like a novella written in Esquire magazine way back in the day.
So I don't know. It's an interesting conversation, man. We can't wait for people to hear it. And then definitely log in the comments and email us at fightingwithfriendspod@gmail.com if you have thoughts on anything. If you want us to share on future episodes, we will be glad to do it.
And if you would like to talk about your best, worst, and our bonus question, should never remake
a film that should never be remade,
please comment and let us know what you guys think.
What film is such hallowed ground that it should never
be touched?
Yeah.
Outside of that, man, what have you been up to?
Well, I think you and I have both been up to something lately that maybe by the time this episode airs, it'll be wrapped. We can't mention exactly who we're working for or for what, but we pitched a production and got approved. The creative agency, you guys got the job, whatever. Yeah. And we went through all of this stuff to prep for them to shoot this particular piece.
Promo, we'll call it.
Whatever. Yeah. This project here in New York City, and now the particular studio that it's affiliated with, big studio, Legacy Studio, wants to do it in LA.
In LA, which honestly, a bunch of people who listen to our show should been like, "Yep, I know what the fuck that's like."
So it's interesting, right? Because now we're not in the situation where they're like, "Later, guys, we're going to go to LA." We're in the situation of we like you guys and we want to shoot it with you in LA. And can you make it cheaper to bring you guys to LA than it would be to bring the people we need from LA to New York if we shoot it in New York?
Yes.
And so it's just a weird thing that's entirely rooted. Forgive me for all my LA friends. Forgive me all my LA friends out there. But it's about this sort of egocentricity of LA thinking they're the center of the world, basically.
Well, for me, I guess what drives me crazy is I feel like they're doing it backwards. They should have asked these questions before they talked to us. And then once they knew the answer to these questions, then they should have came to us.
Yeah.
As opposed to they came to us and now they're trying to... There's questions that they asked in a way where it's like, oh,
Well, and to be fair to the middle entity, the creative agency that we're talking to, they weren't aware of the desire to shoot in LA.
Very
It's
true.
sort of a new
Right.
thing. They thought it was being shot in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And so we proceeded it with that. But now we've built this relationship with them and they really like us and they want to work with us. So now it's about how do we bring you guys to LA in a cost-effective manner that the studio will be happy with.
But what's also is that it kind of has us work on our reach.
Yeah, sure.
And you know what I mean? Can we be New York people and then do what needs to be done in LA when it happens?
Listen, in the end,
it's a test in
it
a
was
way.
A pitch. We won the pitch, which is alone a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, it's great to know that our sort of rep extends that far that
mm-hmm.
people would prefer to work with us, even if it's over there. So there's a lot of positives that will come out of this, even if we end up losing the job.
Mm-hmm.
Because of location. And I think we're also building a great relationship with this creative agency. You know, they seem to be really happy with us. So we'll see, man. So yeah, it's Paul, you're right. There's so many parties that people involved in the filmmaking, promotion of films, all that stuff that people know nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that really is what the Art of Movie Making Film Festival is all about.
And we're so happy to be part of that.
Yeah, we're so glad to sponsor these guys. They really push all aspects of the filmmaking process, all the crafts, all the people we never hear about. And it's going on in October 16th through 18th here in New York City. There's still time. It's close. It's like 2 or 3 weeks away. It's like about 3 weeks away right now, but it's close. You still have time to submit something, get it in under the wire. And if you have a stunt sequence that you would like to submit, because they do have best stunt performance, the winner of that category will be on this show.
That's right.
That's right. So we want to definitely encourage you to go there. Go to the show notes. We have the Film Freeway link. You can click on the link and learn more about the festival and submit if you think you have something worthy of submitting, and hopefully you win and you'll end up on the show with us.
That's right. And while you guys are doing your research on all of this stuff, if you can take a moment to like and support us on Patreon,
yes,
and go and check those things out. Also, if you want to get on our mailing list, you can join our mailing list at filmfightswithfriends@gmail.com.
Nope.
No? What is it?
It's fightingwithfriendspod@gmail.com.
Son of a bitch. That's completely different than our name.
That's because
we did two things.
We had to change our name halfway through season.
Oh, shit. That's hilarious.
But yeah, fightingwithfilmspod@gmail.com. Shoot us a message. We also want to shout out our returning sponsor, Stunt Contact.
Stunt Contact.
You guys rock. If you don't know what Stunt Contact is, if you've been in a fucking closet or under a rock and haven't listened to our show,
especially if you're in our business,
yes, Stunt Contact is one of the greatest breakdown services you could subscribe to. We hit it up. I hit it up daily to find
literally out what's shooting in my area, where they're shooting,
who's the coordinator, who's the producer,
everything.
Who's the line producer, who's the casting agent. It's all there. What's in pre-production, what's in production, what's in development.
And I'm telling you, people, you know, this industry is all about connections. You know, you go through, you look at those lists, you see that name, you see someone, you know, you reach out to them, you're like, hey buddy, what's up? Been a while. I heard you're working on this. Boom.
Totally.
Done. You know, that's what Stunt Content is great for. It just really keeps this entire industry together and really keeps those names fresh in your head of who you can reach out to and been like, hey, I'm available for this.
Yeah, man. You know who else we need to shout out besides our sponsor?
Frankie Bay?
No. Is well, yes, Frankie Bay. You're on our notes again. Fucking Frankie Bay. You are our most engaged listener. We love you, Frankie. Keep commenting, dude. You're the best. He finds us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram.
I saw one of his comments. I was like, dude, this guy's everywhere.
He's everywhere. Frankie, I want you to stay in the lead as our most engaged listener, Frankie.
Right? You got to rally the rest of them.
But we want you to have some competition. So you guys need to come up on the ranks and give Frankie a little challenge. And one of those people might be Arissa Kelly.
Ooh.
If you guys don't know who Ahrue Kelly is, look her up. You might have seen her on social media, Instagram, TikTok. If you don't know who she is, she's an amazing performer where she will balance on her hands, essentially do like a scorpion position from yoga, and shoot a bow and arrow with her fucking feet.
Oh.
Yes. And nail the target. Dead center. Bullseye.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
Like over her head.
Yes. So, dudes.
Yeah.
You need to go on YouTube, go to the Ahrue Kelly, and you'll find her also on Instagram and stuff. I was following her before she even commented.
Oh, way before.
Yeah.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
And she commented on our episode, Rebellions Are Built on Previs, our Andor episode. And she said, super interesting, hands down, bow hands emoji or whatever the fuck that is. I never knew. Like that emoji where the hands are up like this. What is it like? Stop! Back up. What is it like the mime emoji? Oh. But dude, Ahrue Kelly, super interesting, crazy to see how much goes into previs and how every film set is so different. Actually, on the same thread, Project 44 Action, which is actually Mark Kelly himself, commented, "Thanks for the great time. It was a real pleasure to chat with you guys."
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we love you, Mark Kelly.
Thanks for coming on, Mark.
Everybody go follow Ahrue. She's super uber talented. Like, you will not regret following her. She puts up some incredible stuff that my 50-plus-year-old back is like, what the fuck is this shit? So thank you, Ahrue. We love you. Keep following, keep writing, keep engaging. We'll give you a shout out. This is for everybody. Anything else? Everybody else should follow us.
Follow us on Patreon.
Yeah.
Like, support, follow. What else we got? What are
I don't know. Everywhere.
Thumbs up. The
mime hands.
The thumbs up. The mime hands. All the things.
Listen, we're everywhere.
Whatever. What do you got?
Apple.
Fucking halos. What do people send out now?
Yeah, I don't even know. Just give us, however you can show us love, do it. But really, the Patreon thing is important because this show is not free. It's free for you guys. It's not free for us. So if you do want to support us on Patreon, you will get advanced access to episodes 5 days ahead. Like, the episodes drop on Friday, you'll get it on a Monday. We have lots of other perks like swag and tickets to our live events, which hopefully, you guys will have been at.
Yeah. And
we just had one in August.
And all the small little bits of help, all these things, they help us keep shooting. So if you guys like listening to this podcast and you want it to keep going, we need your support because we use that Patreon money to pay our producers, which are fucking awesome.
We have amazing producers. We have an amazing team behind this show, Matt Kaplowitz and Richard Butler of Press Record Studios. And as awesome as they are, they ain't free.
That's right. Why? Because they're awesome. They deserve what they get. So listen, if you like the show, throw us a few bucks on Patreon. Be part of the community that helps make this show a thing. So that's right. Like, follow,
subscribe, whatever. Prayer hands, emoticon hands, whatever the fuck.
Just jump on the Film Fights with Friends podcast wagon, people.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. We want a huge fucking bus following us.
And let me say this. I'm hoping this episode that we're recording now drops on September 26th. I'm hoping by the time this episode drops, we will know if we have been nominated for a podcast award.
Ooh, a real one.
Hopefully we'll be posting about being a nominee. So we'll see. You guys will know before we will.
Well, all right, guys. We will... we're going to see you in 2 seconds. Here we go.
Yeah, let's bring in Becca and Hugh. Dude, and we're here with 2 returning guests.
Hugh Fitzgerald
and Becca GT.
Becca GT.
Hello.
2 of our most favorite people in the business. Episode 1 and episode 4 last season.
Look at you remembering stuff.
That's because I wrote it down. But yes, go back and listen to those episodes if you want to know how awesome these two people are.
And we have a very special episode today. I have been talking about this episode for a while.
Dude, every episode you say, this is a very special episode.
You know what? Go fuck yourself, Steve. But this is something I've wanted to do.
Yes.
And I've always wanted to talk about the world of remakes and reboots and all of this. I can say that lately, garbage that has been coming out. And I was dying to get into a conversation of best, worst, and never remakes.
Well, we didn't tell them the never part. That was the surprise question. But you'll get a surprise question later. But we did ask, Paul and I both chose our favorite or one of our favorites and one of our least favorite remakes. And we asked our guests, Becca and Hugh, to do the same. And we don't know what they chose.
No, we don't know anybody's selection.
And Becca is admittedly, she was telling us before we started recording, admittedly not a cinephile, and didn't. But what were you saying, Becca?
I said I am 100% confident in my lack of confidence of the subject matter. Awesome. So it'll be a great debate to have that outlier of someone that sort of doesn't know what's going on.
Totally. And the irony is that we just recorded the Shogun episode prior to jumping in with these guys, and that's a remake.
It's a remake.
It is a remake.
Or is it a remake? That's right.
That was one of the things we were talking about.
Came up with, like, what exactly constitutes a remake?
Is it a remake or a re-imaging?
Because they're both Shoguns are based on a book.
So are you basing? So is the Shogun the new series? Is it based on a remake of the series, or is it based on a re-imaging of the book?
That's a great point.
These are the questions that we were asking each other. So what do you guys think about that stuff?
Yeah, so let's start with Hugh, because Paul and I were both, before we were like, don't know why, but Hugh's gonna pick some weird ass fucking movie.
I'm waiting for this random.
No pressure, Hugh.
I'm waiting for this random bullshit that fucking Hugh's gonna give us.
Well, what was your positive? What was one of your favorite remakes?
Well, before we jump into that, can I go to the Shogun?
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
This was it's interesting you bring that up, because that book. So I read the book first, right? And I was 8 or 9 years old, and I remember the impression that had on me. Mainly because, and I don't know how much people are aware of the opening of that book, the huge opening of just them set out at sea looking for the Japans. And on that ship is a movie in itself and a story in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Lo and behold, they turned this into a TV show, and I got wrapped up in it. It was right around the same time I got into the martial arts. I was all about Asia and the fighting arts, and specifically Japan. So I was
just saying that I think
like
part of the reason I was into martial arts was because of Shogun.
That was a big part of it, really big part of it. And so was Kung Fu, but they're two different things to talk about. But the Shogun made such an impression, and it was so well written, the book. And I read it again about 3 years ago. And then this remake. So I like what Paul brought up, because if you're and this will lead into the choices I made. If you're basing this on the book and saying true to the story, but reimagining it with technology and synthetics and all this world, that's a different issue. If you're completely redesigning it, which is part 2 of my answer for you guys today, then it begs the question, is this actually a remake? Or is it somebody's off-roading into the Hinter region to just decide and slap the title on it? And it's kind of there, but it isn't. So that's, I think, worth the discussion. Shogun, I think, did a great job at honoring, I believe, the story. So we always come back to, are they honoring the story, or are they just completely just, I'm gonna do a Picasso on top of a Caravaggio, and we'll mix it up and then throw in some Jackson Pollock, and we're going to call it the same thing. Well, no, it's not the same thing. I felt like, because I always go into things, and I'm sure all of you do too, where a little bit of trepidation, you go, oh no, what's going to, because so many of them just turn into crap. But when they hit the mark, and I'm also throw in there, in my opinion, Lord of the Rings, when I remember reading that as a kid, I thought that was Jackson did a really good job.
Amazing.
So it
Funny you
happens.
bring him up.
It's hard to do.
Very funny you bring him up.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, you'll find out.
You notice my King Kong stuff here. But anyway. Peter Jackson's King Kong. Yeah.
I love how you're explaining like the remake or even the reimagining of a movie is honoring the original story, right? So you're honoring the original, that emotional response that you might have seen, in a book or in the first movie.
I agree with you 1,000%. That's
the essence. I think that kind of, in my mind, I go to when I'm expecting a remake, is and even if it's reimagined, it's got a different twist on it. It still honors that initial emotional response. For me, from the original story.
A great remake makes you want to watch the original in the most nostalgic, best way possible.
Yes.
That's a great remake to me. I agree with you completely.
So would you guys, would you all three agree or not agree that one of the criteria for a good remake is that that nostalgic honoring of the sentiment, feeling, intent, whatever you want to call it?
For sure. Not try to outdo, not try to one up. But you should find that balance to make people want to go back and watch the original.
Yeah.
And really, really almost enjoy it even more.
Yes, that's a great point. We'll talk more about that because you just nailed it, Chef Paul. You nailed it on the head. You should absolutely go back and you'll actually find more that you appreciated that you may not have seen before. And I did with the two that I'm going to present to you today.
Yeah, and I did too. And actually, conversely, the remake that I chose for one of my least favorites, I actually like a little bit more now.
Ah, interesting.
So
very interesting.
After rewatching
I
it,
barely got through mine, and I fucking it took me almost 2 weeks to watch it. I had to watch it in like 7 parts.
So the listeners are dying to know what we chose. So Hugh, let's start with you. What was your, on the positive end of the spectrum, what was one of your favorite remakes?
Positive end would be Dune.
Oh, yes.
Very nice. I would.
Dune.
Bam.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yep.
Wow, you're starting off with big fucking guns, bro.
This is big guns.
Is it a
guns from Navarone, Paul? This is guns from Navarone hitting. Okay.
Yeah.
So, man, I could talk.
One of my favorite movies.
I could talk for days about this because it was another one of those books that I read first that blew my mind.
You got a book that was also a movie, but then a series as well.
Yes.
Before the remake, and both were loved and panned alike.
They
series
were both
more than
loved
the movie,
and
but
panned,
still,
which is another great point. They were loved and hated, and I remember it as a kid. I didn't know at that time.
Just so you know, I have a Kyle MacLachlan signed Paul Atreides pop at home.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic, actually. Well, I figured, you know what? Of course, here's the thing. Of course, Paul would. Of course you would.
Of course. Of course he would.
Yeah.
So what is it? What is it about Dune? Yes. What is it about the new Dune, the new Dune movies that brings it up to here for you?
Denis, hands down. I feel as if it couldn't have landed in better hands, in my opinion. And what I love about his approach to things,
and for those that don't know, he's talking about Denis Villeneuve.
The director. Yeah.
Yes. And the fact of the matter is that as much as I grew up and grew to admire David Lynch, and I still do, and what that book meant to me, and then seeing that as a youngster blew my mind and what was possible. But what Denis, I think it's Denis, I've heard both, but I feel like he really built that world about Paul, and that it was less about the two warring houses and the spice world as it was coming back to that human element And what and back to Becca's point is that we're going back into this character and this hero's journey through Paul and all that conflict and stuff that he went through, which was different than the approach that Lynch took. And Lynch, in his own beautiful, wonderful, quirky, crazy world, was good. Having revisited that, I'm a huge Max von Sydow fan. And I go, you know what? I even admired Sting even more. I thought he was amazing. And what they had, here's what I always go back to, what they had to work with at that time, as opposed to now. And you have to be able to appreciate what they pulled off.
Yeah.
That Lynch film was panned and ridiculed, and it still is.
Well, I also
have a
like
different
the
approach
fact
to it.
that the movie, don't mean to cut you off, is it's two parts. And, you know, you got to realize how, I'm just going to be honest, how long and fucking boring Dune is the book.
Yes.
It's boring.
It's really boring.
It's atrocious.
I couldn't finish it. I tried to finish it. I tried to go to it after the movie came out. And
so for him to actually, you know, when people were like, watch the first movie and they're like, where's Fade? And I'm like, did you read the book? I'm like, he doesn't come into like 470 something pages in. You know, I'm like, what are you expecting here?
Right.
And he really did grasp the huge scope of this of the movie, which is why I really just, when I watch it, I'm just enamored by what he did.
I'm really curious and we can see after everybody reveals their choices, how many come from a book. Like, because we're talking about book and then a movie remaking the movie, or is the movie just honoring the book?
Sure. All right, so let's keep it going.
Yeah,
let's move to Becca.
So Becca, what was your on the positive end? What was your choice?
So I mean, again, I haven't seen a ton of movies that I would say, oh yeah, this remake was great, right? So my pool is very small. I kind of stuck with the Patrick Swayze grouping here, and my favorite, and then my least favorite.
I'm rock fisting right now.
I actually thought the remake of Roadhouse was pretty fun and clever. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I know I can see everyone's face. Oh my God. But the original in the 80s, and when you watch that, it is what it is, right? It's campy, it's fun, it's got its story.
He used to fuck guys in prison.
Whatever. It's clever, it's just like, okay, whatever. But it's very 80s and it's dated. And I thought I thought for them to kind of take that concept and turn it on its head a little bit and just make it into like a raucous of crazy fighting and crazy shots, and just take the gist of the story. I don't necessarily think it's like it's not the best remake ever at all. It's just a remake that I went, okay, this was fun to watch.
I would like to throw in there really quick that the bad guy in Roadhouse, if you guys ever watch Armageddon.
You mean the original?
The original Roadhouse, the bad guy in Roadhouse who used to fuck guys in prison, that guy, right? He was the captain of the space shuttle that crashed in Armageddon.
Interesting.
I don't know if you know that, but if you ever go back and watch Armageddon, it is the greatest thing ever. If you notice that.
So, but Becca, I get what you're saying. Like if you were to transpose like an 80s campy movie to a 21st century campy movie, they're both equally campy within the context of when the movie came out. Yeah,
right.
Totally.
Yes, it came, and it was like, hey, let's go above and beyond the insanity of shooting this fight, and let's turn it into like the vomit comet, going around and around and around, and like, does this ever end? But it was kind of fun in that weird sense of, okay, they're trying to do something with this story and going like this way with it. Yeah. But I will say, I don't know, I enjoyed watching it.
I agree with you. When I watched Roadhouse, I was definitely in a uplifted, happy, kind of chuckling.
Yes.
Not hating it, but at the same time, I had to just stop thinking of it as a remake of Roadhouse.
Yes.
And it was it was quite an enjoyable movie.
Yes, if you look at it like on
you.
its own, it's enjoyable. If you look at it and say, "Wow, this is a remake of this classic,"
and there were so many,
it's a different experience.
There were a lot of shout outs in that movie, in my opinion, which also made me love it. So, especially in the first bar fight, when he said bar fight to me, immediately went back to Animal House food fight scene.
Yep,
that was almost a direct.
Oh yeah. That's a great one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then
I thought that was the best fight of the whole movie. Honestly.
And then the first punch that Jake Gyllenhaal threw when he brought the guys out in the parking lot and he was like, "I'm going to send you all to the hospital."
Oh.
He threw a punch in there where he spun 360 degrees, and I'm sorry, but that was an homage to Far and Away and Tom Cruise's special punch.
Even if they didn't know it.
Fuck that, they knew it. There's no fucking way he threw that punch and didn't say this is the punch that Tom Cruise threw in Far and Away. But there's no way.
I'm with Becca. Like, so here is when I went to Roadhouse, maybe I was clouded by loving the original Roadhouse.
Which there's apparently a 3.5 hour version that's out there somewhere.
I don't know if I could take 3.5 hours because one of my picks was a 3+ hour movie that I had to sit through again.
And I kept on bothering him during.
Yeah. So, but I actually liked, I mean, let's face it, Gyllenhaal was awesome in the movie.
He was.
And it was campy, and it gave enough homage to the original story that it was, like reflective of it. What I couldn't get past was that camera work that Becca's talking about.
Yes.
I fucking hated it. And I remember seeing all the press about, like, we've got this new revolutionary fight cam, blah, blah, blah. And then I watched it and I felt like you said, it's the vomit comet. I'm like, I can't even appreciate the choreography and the fights in here because I'm lost. It's terrible.
They tried something different.
It was terrible.
They tried
different and it didn't quite land, great. I mean, some people thought it was the greatest thing. I just thought it was distracting, actually, from, like you said, from the choreography, from the story. It sucked you out of what was going on.
Because there was some really amazing fight work going on, but it was so hard to pay attention to it, really, honestly.
It was
in terms of story, I had no issue with the story.
Nope.
It was a similar type of story. It was a great homage to the original.
But it's interesting.
And I actually like that they had it wasn't really like a love interest. It was kind of more of a protector. Like, there wasn't, I didn't get that. Like, they didn't bring in another, who was the actress who played the love interest?
In the new one or the old one?
In the old one. Yeah.
Julie Michaels.
I felt that this was a bit more of a, I am saving this person who is younger than me that I am supposed to protect.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different twist on the same story, but again, to your point, and then we'll go on to your all's favorites. What I think is interesting is, again, to Hugh's point at the beginning, honoring the story is not the problem with this remake. The main issue that most people had with it was camera work. So it's interesting that just changing the shots and changing the way it's depicted on the screen gives you a gut punch reaction to, I don't like this remake, versus the story's actually pretty cool, but it's just not shot the way that I want to feel the, that emotional response that I had to the first one.
Yeah, I think when you come to a cult classic, we'll call it, like Roadhouse, there are so many marks that if you try and disregard, you're not gonna hit the marks. And in that, I think is where you're saying they made it something separate. Where people were like, this really wasn't like the original, but it was like the original. So they were torn in between to where they couldn't find that. Like, if I went back and watched the original, I had no reason to want to go back to watch the original Roadhouse after watching this Roadhouse. That's one of the criterias I have. I didn't find it in this at all. It made me want to go back to watch the original so I could appreciate everything that the new one didn't have, in my opinion.
Well, it's funny that you bring up this because I didn't. It wasn't my final choice for least favorite remake, but on the short list was Red Dawn. On the short list was Red Dawn.
Oh wow!
Because it's also Patrick Swayze, the 80s, and then we don't have to get into it. But Red Dawn, I had such high hopes for the remake. I don't know why, but let's just say I thought it was terrible. So,
it was bad.
Yeah,
I love that original Red Dawn.
Dude, the original is so good.
Love it.
As fantastical as it is, like, we're not going to have Cuban troops flying in paratrooping over middle American high schools, but it was like still just so great.
The day is young, man. We don't know.
I know.
And what was his name? Steve, his name was it Powers Booth, who played the jet
Powers
fighter?
Booth.
That was like some of the scenes were so good with him when he was breaking it down for him that we just nuked China, guys, and they're looking at him like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. So good. But anyway, Paul, what was on the positive end? What was your choice?
My positive end, and when I went back and I watched these, I have absolutely no regrets. I will put it up there with one of the greatest remakes ever made. And I will say, I think it is Tony Scott's fucking magnum opus. I'm going to go with Man on Fire.
All right.
I think that and it made me want to do nothing more than watch the original. And when I watched the original, it made me love it even more and then want to go back and watch the remake again. Like all three right in a row. Yeah. I have goosebumps just going through it.
And
it was based on a book.
Like I was going to say, like we were discussing, based on a novel. So is it a remake if it's just another version of the novel?
And two completely different takes. So one was more for the novel and one was just was just for the movie. Mm-hmm. So, and what I love is when you go back and if you watch the two of these, the ending is completely different. The Scott Glenn version, he rescues her and then fakes his own death, but then goes back and visits her, and there is now a continuation of their relationship. He gets back to her, but in the Tony Scott version, he sacrifices his life for her, right? And he goes across the bridge, and he dies in the final shot. That's him dying in the back of the car.
Yeah.
So it's two completely different takes.
You could not have two completely opposite ends.
No, and they are both so still absolutely phenomenal. And again, when you watch how emotionally charged the final scene is of him giving his life for Pita, at the end, and Denzel, when he's going across the bridge and she's going back to the mother, and it's just amazing. And then when you go back, and if you forgot about the Scott Glenn version and you go back and watch it, you're just like, holy shit, he makes it, but they get to be together in the end with the little girl, and he gets to be there for her future. And then it makes you want to go back and watch the Denzel one again.
But they both work, and they work in their own way, right? It's like
absolutely,
we've all written both those up and down endings to where they're both equally that.
But there was also the little pieces, the little, like I say, the homage that makes you want to go back. So the original was in Italy, and they were going against the mafia. We'll call them the mafia. The Italian cartels. And then in the remake, they were going against. He went up against the Mexican cartels who were doing all the kidnappings in Mexico, and that was the whole thing. But what really, really blew my mind is they brought in Gianni Giancarlo, one of the greatest Italian actors ever, to play the detective in Mexico, which to me was an homage
to it,
nodding to the Italian aspect of the first film. Those little things to me are what can make a remake fucking great. And that when I said before, it really gives you the nod to the original, but yet you still do your own story. That's, to me, a true remake.
I almost feel like we're talking about, like, earlier this week, Paul and I were talking about, well, what's a remake? What's a not? Like, why don't people care that Death of a Salesman has been done 100 times, right? nobody cares that a play is done over and over again, but people give a shit when a movie's done over and over and over again. And I wonder if because plays are designed to be temporary and movies are permanent and people get fixed. Yeah. Because like I just saw Death of a Salesman, the most recent one on Broadway, which was amazing with Wendell Pierce. And it was it followed, and I had seen it on Broadway with Brian Dennehy also. And then when I was young, I saw it with Dustin Hoffman on TV when they did the televised version. So like the Brian and the Brian Dennehy version and the Dustin Hoffman version were fairly similar, equally powerful. But then the Wendell Pierce version, they transposed the whole background into like the African American community. They brought in gospel music. They brought in all this other stuff, but kept the story the same, just changed the setting. And it was so freaking powerful. But nobody cared that it was different because it was like a play.
Right.
People like appreciate that when it comes to plays. But with movies, people are immediately so critical if you're not like the first film version, you know?
Right.
So what's yours, man?
That's a great point, Stephen. Great point. The story is a story with theater. So no matter how you dress it up, the story remains the same, and it's a human condition. But you're right. I love the fact you brought up that how temporary it is. And, you know, I've directed 4 productions of Hamlet, and each one of them set in post, World War II to modern day to Elizabethan era. But it's the story. It's like we're still dealing with this this existential crisis with with Hamlet. So it doesn't. But that's a really, really great point. I don't know. On that note, I think that just to put this out here, there's 2. I won't take up too much time, but there was some chatter a little while back about a Warriors remake. I don't know if you guys caught wind of any of that. And the amount of people that were so up in arms and just ready just to burn the city down if that was even going to get made.
Right.
And it says a lot about people.
They would create their own Warriors movie by trying to make a Warriors
They would
movie.
actually really do. You just set up the cameras. You have all the B-roll you need.
Just everybody would just fucking revolt and go nuts.
And obviously, so many things have to be updated. And you guys are well aware because I was privy to some of the earlier discussions of Highlander, and it was people were coming out of the woodwork, ready just to. You can't Here's another thing. There are those that say there are things you just don't touch.
Yep.
Right.
You can't touch it. It's a no-go zone. And
look at what happened when they tried to make the sequel to Highlander.
Right.
Why would you try and remake it?
Right.
Like
they
E.T.
did. They made a TV series.
Yep.
With Adrian Paul and so on. So somebody's watching it. You know?
Well, that's the TV series to a movie. Is that a remake?
Yeah.
But let's get to yours,
or vice versa.
Let's move on. Let's move on and get to yours here because we're on a clock. We got a bunch of stuff to go through.
Yes, I will just say though, to your point, TV series to movie, like Fall Guy. Fall Guy was a TV series, and then it was a movie. So how could you take like multiple seasons of a TV series and condense it into a movie? So is it a remake or is it just sort of an homage to the original?
Yeah, I think it more like borrows the concepts, the characters, some of the central themes, and applies it to a whole new animal.
Yes.
My on the positive side, my remake, which again, I didn't know this until I was researching, was also based on a book. But I didn't know this at the time. But I picked John Carpenter's The Thing as a remake of the original 1951 The Thing, which I watched both back to back last night, actually. And I appreciated. I remembered watching the original The Thing from Another World, which is The Thing from Another World was what is called the 51 version, and loving it as a kid, just loving it. And then as a young kid, like just watching reruns. And then in 82, Carpenter's Thing come out, and I'm like in high school, and I'm like, holy shit, this is freaking amazing. And by the way, that's why we have Kurt Russell here I don't have a Thing toy, but I do have Kurt Russell from Escape from New York, which is also Carpenter Kurt Russell, so as close as we can get. But it was so amazing, and watching them both, like, it is very similar. Obviously, like, the special effects are different and all that kind of stuff, but the story is almost identical. Like, this Arctic team is stuck in the Arctic, and there's an alien. In both cases, it's an alien that shapeshifts and can take the form of another person, which, by the way, I found out was based on a book, and I wrote it down so I didn't forget, based on a novella called Who Goes There? Written in 1936, science fiction writer John W. Campbell. And it's literally the same story about a team of scientists stuck in the Arctic, and a shape-shifting alien invades their station. So is it a remake or is it not? But I will tell you that the storylines were close to identical. Like, I would say 80% the same.
Isn't that kind of like what Species was like?
I don't know. I don't remember. What Species?
Species, yeah. I think so.
Yeah. With who was the blonde actress in the late 90s that did all the sci-fi stuff? I can't think of her name.
I don't know, but it was amazing. But the thing was amazing. And watching them back to back last night was pretty cool, especially just from a stunt performer's perspective, because in both movies, fire burns were like the epic, like fire was the way that you would kill this thing. And the name, so the first, for those who don't know, the listeners, the very first full body fire burn ever captured on film was in the 1951 The Thing from Another World.
Interesting.
And his name was, where are you? I have it right here somewhere. Fireburn, Tom Steele. Tom Steele did the first ever full fireburn, and they threw kerosene on him. That's what it was. They set him on fire and threw buckets of kerosene on him. And his whole suit was made of asbestos and whatnot. And then in the new John Carpenter's The Thing, they did the full body fireburn almost identical, where he crashes through the wall, runs out into the snow. And it was just amazing to see, like, that. It was just great. I love both movies. Watching them back to back made me love the original even more. Going back to what was said earlier.
That's a great remake.
Yeah, it's a great remake. I'm such a huge fan of Carpenter's. Love it.
I have so much stuff in my collection from Carpenter's, from They Live, from all signed by John, so much stuff.
And by the way, I wrote these notes down as I was doing my research, but the writer of the 1951 version of The Thing from Another World, not the original sci-fi writer, but the screenplay is written by this guy, Charles Lederall, who ended up writing, ironically enough, this is why I wrote it down, the original Ocean's 11.
Oh, shit.
Which was remade.
Yes.
So it ties right.
It's so funny. That was actually number 2 for one of my greatest remakes.
Well, there you go.
That was my number 2 under Man on Fire. But then I watched them both. I actually watched them all, and then I decided to go with Man on Fire.
There you go, man.
Because it made me feel things.
So yeah. So the thing, and just these little things, no pun intended, but these little things that I appreciate was like the same typeface. Like, like Carpenter used the same typeface as the 1951. Like, there was definite homage. And plus, who doesn't love David Keith, right? David Keith.
Oh, yeah.
Keith David.
Who ended up...
Keith David.
No, David Keith. Is it Keith David?
The black guy?
Yeah.
Keith David.
Keith David?
Yeah, trust me. It's Keith David. I just got his autograph.
Keith David. Okay, well, that he ended up in another epic fight scene in They Live.
Because he did the voice for the Spawn cartoon.
And the They Live fight, which was the spiritual predecessor to Becca's fight in Poker Face, I will just say, because it was written into the script. Like, we are trying to do the They Live fight.
Wild how this just came full circle.
All just came full circle. Right? So back to Hugh.
I can't wait to hear what your worst picks are.
So what is your right?
What's your, on the negative end, Hugh? What was your...
I'm excited. I'm ready to shit on some stuff.
Yeah.
Hugh's going to be like, Star Wars.
There was a list. but I'm gonna go with Wonka.
Really?
You consider that a remake?
Yeah.
This was one of the questions that we had. Is Wonka a remake, or was it a reimage?
Burton's.
Yeah.
Not Timothy's. Burton with Depp.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go. Good clarification there.
Yeah.
So once again, and I read Roald's book as a kid before I even saw the movie. So here's
because they call that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Right.
Yes.
So the name is changed, and they had
the original name Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is what has changed.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. But such
to
a
a book
fan
again.
of the original and Gene Wilder and the author, goes without saying. I was angry at sitting through Burton's version of that, whatever you want to call it.
It was
very, very vehemently opposed to that. Where you're taking it was like
Schumacher's Batman.
Yeah, I want it. It's sort of it's if it's it was, in my opinion,
he was trespassing on sacred ground, and he
sacred
fucked it
ground. It was like one of those. That's why I'd asked earlier, the things that you just hold so dear, you just don't want anyone going in there. And like,
I also felt like
so good, and
Johnny
I love Burton,
Depp.
don't get me wrong, but
but Johnny Depp's
that
was a
Willy
big miss.
Wonka was like if you gave Hannibal Lecter too much caffeine.
Yeah, it was so
weird,
wrong, and it was just wrong. Like weird. I can take weird. You guys know me, but this was like, I don't know what this was. So that was one that I really stood out to me. There were
good
others.
Choice. That was shit.
But that was shit. We can agree that was shit. Taking a beautiful story, and by a legend like Wilder that it was written for, and then just completely turning it on its ear to make some sort of bullshit. I don't know what it was. So there you have it.
Yep. I agree.
There's some great behind the scenes footage of Wilder doing the forward roll to a standing position.
Do you know that he would not take the role unless they let him do that scene?
Yeah,
that's right.
Where he,
So there, there's this great story, and I don't know if you can find it anywhere. It's out there all the time. But
we'll try to link it in the show notes.
There is this great story of Gene Wilder saying he would not do the role if he couldn't walk out and do this.
That's right.
Because he said it set up the entire story of who Wonka
That's right.
was.
It set the whole story.
And he's like, if you don't let me do this, I am not taking this part.
Yep.
That's right.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Well, and to say, obviously you had this experience seeing this movie for the first time. So sorry, Johnny Depp just doesn't really, fit that mold. It's a whole different experience the second time around. Really different experience.
But how much of our hatred to remakes, or some remakes anyway, are based on the fact that we saw the original films during these formative years?
Yeah, there's that. Absolutely.
I think it's a big part of it.
Yeah, because people will, let's just say, people who saw the new Red Dawn never saw the old one. We're like, oh, that movie was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take them back. How much of it is?
It's was it awesome, or were you just blown away by the fact the fucking hero died in the last fucking 2 seconds of it, and you're still dealing with that? But did you really like the fucking movie? Because if you saw the original,
I don't know. I mean,
sometimes I feel like that it's one thing and not the whole thing.
Are we being stodgy old people by saying this was a terrible, I remember growing up and loving this and blah blah blah, but maybe the new versions are having an equal effect on younger people seeing.
It's a good point.
I don't know. Point. Yep.
Well, that makes me actually think about before we totally go on. Okay, we're just going to go into the fact that Duster was canceled, right? I love that fucking show, and I feel like that show kind of caters to that era of people that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
You're
and
right.
That
And
was
I was
probably
rooting for
why
it.
that show was fucking canceled.
That's why it was canceled. I was rooting for it the whole time. I was like,
Dude,
me too. Everybody I've spoken to is rooting for that show.
Yeah.
I got goosebumps. Like, it was such a great show. And I feel like it got canceled because of the era of people it was speaking to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no one can relate at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And or meanwhile, the show is brilliant.
The paying demographics that they're trying to attract and you know,
like bounty hunter with Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
Okay.
Completely different show, but
dude, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on here?
There are shows that are in season 8
pretty bad.
Dog shit.
Yeah.
All right.
So we should change the name of the show to Film Fights with.
Hit us, Becca. Hit us with your.
All right. So again, with my limited experience, and I stuck with the Patrick Swayze thing. I'm gonna go with Point Break remake.
Yes.
Because
fuck yes.
Totally.
All right.
Pile of dog shit.
First of all, absolutely no disrespect to the extreme sports community, because what those guys do is absolutely phenomenal.
You are such a perfect segue into my fucking movie.
And wonderful. However, as a remake, basically all they did from the original is borrow the names Bodie and Johnny Utah.
Yeah.
And everything else was like
1,000%
on its head. Like,
by the way, that was on my list, Becca. It was on my list too.
Really?
It was on my skydiving scene.
And I also just want you to know, I'm going to say this. I could stare into Edgar Ramirez's fucking face for like 3 hours without a break. That movie was fucking terrible. I couldn't even handle him.
It's
so disappointing.
It was awful. And I mean, if you looked at it on its own, it probably could have, like, the story wasn't so terrible, but just like there was really no homage to the original except the fact that, okay, here's a big wave at the end and he dies in the big wave. Like everything else was zero.
You could have called that movie Tropical Heist.
No, they threw it. They did.
It was just so bad. And I'm just sitting there watching it going, wow, my job just got really easy because this is so much not like the original at all. I mean, Point Break, come on. That was such a great movie.
It's kind of like the story you hear when they made the second Saw movie, that it wasn't even it wasn't even a Saw movie. They're just like, we're not going to buy it, but if you make it a Saw movie, we'll take it. So it was like, this story isn't great. Make it Point Break 2 and we're going to buy it from you.
It was awful. Anyway, so that was mine. Yeah.
And Becca, while we're on this subject, I just want to, because I was talking to someone the other day about Bigelow, and give credit to this. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah,
Catherine Bigelow, right? I mean, this is
from Point Break to Zero Dark 30. By the way,
that's what I'm saying, and I feel like
James Cameron's wife, right?
Direct, like people forget, and a lot of people that don't even know, they go, "Who was that?" I go, look her up.
Are you kidding me?
Like, amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Fair. Yes. So that was mine.
And also, I would just like to say, a woman director back then, fucking crushing it. Crushing it.
Yes.
Crushing it.
Yes. 100%.
You've heard me say this before, and I'll say it again. You know, it is unfortunate in our industry that women get promoted because they're women. Not necessarily because they're really talented some of the time. And I've been on sets. I know you guys have been on sets with maybe women directors, or maybe they're, coordinating, or maybe they're doing other things, and they're just so not confident. And they're always asking everyone else's opinion. Do you think I should do this? Do you think I should do that? And when you see someone that is confident and that's really good at what they do, I'm like, thank you, because that's an ambassador. That's the one that's going to say, this is great. Not just someone that's, promoted because they need to be promoted.
Well, there were people when the Zero Dark 30, when it won the Academy Award, right? I believe.
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
It won a lot of shit. But anyways, people are like, Catherine Bigelow, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, have you been living under a fucking rock?
Yeah.
Right.
How the fuck do you not know who this woman is?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I know.
unbelievable. that no one knew she directed Point Break until Zero Dark 30 come out.
So I believe the lesson here is do not remake any movie that had Patrick Swayze in it.
Oh shit!
That's a good point.
Right?
That's a good point.
Fair.
Very good point.
Weren't they talking about doing Ghost?
By the way, I was gonna say Ghost is coming out next year or whatever.
Ghost is.
I think they tried to.
Are they going to do Dirty Dancing?
They already did. They did Dirty Dancing Havana Nights, right?
I know, it's terrible, but that's not a remake. That's a sequel.
You watched that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't watch it.
I'm like, I got so many things to say to you right now that I'm not going to.
I'm not embarrassed enough to say that I went to the Dirty Dancing tour on Broadway to see like Mark Harmon performed and the Righteous Brothers performed. It was a great show. It was all the people that were in the soundtrack. They were at Radio City Music Hall. But people make fun of me for that. And fuck you, Paul. I see your face right now.
Hey, Steve, thanks for that information because I just took some notes. So I'm writing this down right now.
Yeah, Hugh's going to be like, yo, Steve and Paul want to rent space here. But by the way, Steve saw the Dirty Dancing tour on Broadway.
No, it's great, man. It's great.
So, Paul, what was your choice on the poor end of the far end of the spectrum?
So I'm going to get Snake Plissken out of the way and show my rollerball pop that I had signed by James Caan about 2 weeks before he passed. So my worst remake ever made in the entire universe in the history of fucking film is Rollerball with Scott Klein, Rebecca Romaine Stamos, and LL Cool J. This movie was so fucking bad that the remake took me 2 weeks to fucking watch. I had to watch it in 15-minute fucking intervals.
Listen, you're my hero, man. Rollerball. You really are, man. I'm convinced it's you. That's amazing. Rollerball.
But 1977 Rollerball for me, and I know I mentioned it on the show, I think it's one of the greatest fucking movies ever made. It really Still is. To this day, if you go back and you watch this movie, everything about it holds up. The lead character, all I've got to say, and don't take this the wrong way, it's just a fucking man. He's just a fucking man, and he does man shit, and he handles shit like a fucking man. And that's it. And then... And that's because in the remake, that guy is not a fucking man. He is like, I can look at the camera and I got pretty fucking eyes. And I'm Chris Klein and I did American fucking Pie and I'm going to be the next sexy fucking whatever. And that was all that movie was trying to do. It did nothing. It did nothing to the homage of the writing, which was also a great Esquire fucking story called Rollerball Murder, which is phenomenal to go read real quick. And there was so much intellectual stuff that was written into the script behind the screens, AI shit that was in there. They took all of it out to just make this Point Breaky fucking, you know what? We're just going to take the game and make the game awesome and fuck the writing and the story.
So the Hollywoodified it.
To the fucking to the degree of Point Break, and they obviously didn't learn their fucking lesson because the first thing I thought about was like, what's another remake that's just so terrible that they just tried to go and see one thing, and I was like, Point Break. They turned it into an extreme action movie and took away from the story of like Johnny and the other guy, and there was such a huge story of like the corporate corruption. Where the world was heading as a whole, where society was heading as a whole. There was just a scene when they were at a party afterwards and they were just destroying trees with this gun, and the reactions they had, it was so much of like Clockwork Orange editing and fast style directing. It's such a beautiful fucking film with such a beautiful fucking message. And then they go and they make a remake, and the remake is like, let's just make it extreme sports and throw some fucking jumps in.
I did not see the remake, but did they introduce like you're talking about how they kind of Hollywoodified it? Did they put a love interest, remote romance?
Yes, Rebecca Romaine Stamos was her love interest. By the way, I've got to say, they found a way to get her in topless happy for that because it's Rebecca Romaine Stamos. I'm sorry, but thank you. But otherwise, the film was terrible.
But that's a great segue to my least favorite choice, which after rewatching it, I kind of have a better opinion of it.
Which is good to have one of those.
Yeah. So my on the far end of the negative spectrum was Peter Jackson's King Kong compared to the original. And so what's interesting is I watched them again back to back, the original and the new and Peter Jackson.
Only because Steve and I talk, I did this as well. What's
that?
I watched them.
Oh yeah.
I did the same thing, and I agree with you.
We actually prep.
Yeah.
But anyway, so but in the original King Kong, which was a fucking masterpiece, if you go back and watch it,
Ray Fay, right? What's the
Fay Ray,
and then Naomi Watts in the Jackson.
Naomi Watts was in the in Peter Jackson. What was interesting? So here's the deal. I think this is one of the reasons I chose it. It's a true remake. There was no book. King Kong was the original. There's been obviously multiple King Kong, adaptations, Japanese kaiju, monsters and whatever. But King Kong, I had to look it up because Paul and I were talking is King Kong, was there a Japanese kaiju version before the American? No, it was the 1933 version was the first time King Kong ever appeared in anything. There was no book. There was no, that was the original. And so it was, the Peter Jackson's version was a true remake. The same characters, basically the same storyline, a film crew trying to do the thing, and they got the down and out actress.
The Empire State Building.
Yeah. It was legit, almost with very minor changes, like the love interest in the original. What made me think of why I asked you about the love interest, because in the plot of the original King Kong and also the new King Kong, new is 20 years ago, is 2005, but in the plot was Carl Denham wanted to do this, he was known for shooting wildlife stuff, like National Geographic type stuff, like whatever, and he couldn't get his movie made unless he added a love interest. So he was looking to find a female, and he found this down and out poor Fay Ray. And in the new King Kong version, it was a down and out of work, vaudevillian theater actress. But the scenes were the same, like where Carl Denham found her was trying to steal an apple from an apple cart. So they redid everything. Even the time period was the same. So it was like a true remake, right?
Yeah.
So my question, why
is it the worst?
Yes.
So I also just want to go into one thing, because you're talking about the scene for scene and true remakes. I want to throw into another one that was literally a scene for scene remake that was panned and shit on. So it's not sometimes it's not really about what you do through the lens. It's about how people feel about what's going on that they're watching, because the Amityville Horror was remade with Ryan Reynolds, scene for scene, shot for shot, word for word, I think, and it got fucking shit on.
Right.
So just before you keep going, I wanted to say that it's not necessarily
sure, totally
that doing the exact remake. It's also about just the feeling that you're putting in behind the camera and what's going on through the lens.
Well, look at Brolin. I remember Brolin, when I saw that, I go, there was just the color grade to the feel and texture of that movie was so horrifying. But that's a good example because it's shot for shot. But, and by the way, once again, based on a book.
There you go. Well, King Kong was not shot for shot, because Peter Jackson's was like over 3 hours long, which is one of the reasons why it's not one of my favorites. But how
long was the original?
The original was like an hour, like an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. So it was like a normal, sort of typical length film. And I remember growing up, and again, this goes back to like the cultural stuff that we talked about. I remember growing up back when there was you could only see on TV what was scheduled, right? Every Thanksgiving they would play King Kong, Mighty Joe Young. Back to back.
Yeah, the rabbit
Mighty
ear
Joe Young. Yes.
And so I would wait all year for Thanksgiving to watch King Kong. And
Not the best.
Joe Young.
Because if you didn't own it, you couldn't watch it because otherwise
everything
was VHS tape. Yeah,
that
exactly.
was it. That was it. So
or
I have
VCRs.
Yes, I even by then it was like you could get the VHSs and stuff, but we're talking like before that. So I just had this certain feeling about the original King Kong, how amazing it was. So my friend Scott Boyette, who was on our show last season, firearms instructor, his wife worked for Peter Jackson at the time. So I got to go to the premiere. And I got to go to the after party at the top of the Empire State Building. And then I got to go to the after party at the top of Toys R Us in Times Square, which is
Did you tell him his movie sucked?
No.
Did you get touched by a monkey?
This is from the premiere.
That's really cool.
Let me see.
And yeah, here. This is like a little, you can look through it. And then so Peter Jackson, here's my ID badge from the premiere. And Peter Jackson, for those at the premiere, we got this.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
This is
neato.
A DVD. They don't do shit like this anymore.
No, they don't.
This is Peter Jackson did a video diary, production diary of through the whole movie, and it's all on here.
Wow.
So I went into this wanting to love it so badly. And it was just so fucking long. My recollection was that it was so fucking long. So I went to rewatch it yesterday. I watched the original, which reminded me of what a masterpiece it is. The original, aside from the racist time-based stuff from 1933, like you're in an island in the South Pacific and is populated by a bunch of African American natives, like in the South Pacific. Like, how do they?
But they're considered savages, right? It's like
they're savages and whatnot.
Yeah.
But aside from that, when you look at the, I forgot how many amazing stop motion fights there are in that movie.
Man.
Right.
Like,
remember when I was talking to you about the T-Rex fight?
Yes,
and all that,
where
and
he
all
fights the T-Rex. And Hugh, you need to watch it again. I had my students watch it last night in class.
Which made me appreciate the I actually went back and I watched I went further and I started watching all the Kong movies.
Yeah.
And the Kong movie, I didn't realize, I forgot until I went back and watched the original because of you, that there was the snake thing fight.
Oh yeah, he fights the snake.
Completely forgot.
He fights the T-Rex.
Yeah.
There's a fight with, not a fight, but a charge and a shooting of the Stegosaurus.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a lot of monster stuff on the island that I completely forgot about. But if you if you watch the fights in the original, when he fights the T-Rex, he does a low single and runs the pipe and takes the
look at his fucking face when you said that.
Takes the T-Rex down, right? And then at one point he jumps on the T-Rex's back and gets back mount, and he's trying to stretch his mouth open. He's choking him, and he literally does a fucking bow and arrow like roll choke over the T-Rex.
Yep.
And then ends up in like a S mount or a mount where he rips open his mouth. And I'm like,
see, and that is so up. That's part of my wheelhouse, as you guys know. I'd be ripping and dislocating the jaw right from there. And I'm going to see it again, and I'm going to make everyone I know watch it.
Dude, you got to watch it. And what's amazing is like the emotion, like when he kills the T-Rex and he checks the T-Rex to see if it's dead. And he lifts his head up and drops it.
Yep.
And he lifts his jaw up, and that's all stop motion. Like they put the emotion into that.
Isn't that amazing?
And then that with the composite shots and with the live action actors clearly acting in front of a screen that was like a reverse projected. It was just so amazing. It was like a masterpiece, right? So I start watching the new one, and I'm like, okay, this is a true remake. And then I just feel like the Peter Jackson remake could be really fucking epic. I mean, it did win 3 Oscars.
Do you feel that it's that way because they could fine tune it and bring it back?
I think if he cut out like an hour or an hour and 15, like there's so much stuff in there that's unnecessary that I feel like he's coming off the Lord of the Rings train and he's going to show the amazing abilities that we have. And they're going to do sort of like, we're going to compete with Jurassic Park, and we're going to do all this cool dinosaur stuff.
Before he goes on to ruin the Hobbit.
Like there's a scene that feels like it lasted 15 minutes in the 2005 King Kong with the Brontosaurus stampede, where they're running underneath the like. You can cut that whole entire scene out.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point for that, And there's a lot of
that was a back to Jurassic Park though.
That's Jurassic Park. Totally Jurassic Park.
Yeah, because
100%.
They have the Velociraptors chasing
100%.
them and the whole thing. Like, if he had actually tried even more to just go shot for shot,
right,
the original,
almost the opposite of what
because the scenes with Naomi Watts and Kong were freaking amazing.
They were really good.
Yes, and then what I like, for example, he used the same typeface in the opening. He used the same graphic design in the opening of his movie as the original. Like, so many things were awesome. I feel like he could have just cut out a whole bunch of stuff.
What's so weird, I don't know why, but this so sticks with me, is the details in the fingers and the hand when she.
It was all about the hand. I remember vividly.
Truly amazing.
The way that gorilla's, the padding of the hand. And I almost wanted to experience what it must be like to be held by that Kong in that hand.
That was.
Why are we saying the same
very
thing?
Well.
Yep.
So powerful.
It was so good. Like the Kong.
Yeah.
Like you said, if you just cut out a bunch of bullshit.
It was great. Like where Kong is like stroking her hair with his finger and like trying to feel it. Like there were so many great moments and so homages. Like he definitely replicated scenes, but also homages. Like in the beginning when Carl Denham, played by what's his name? Holy shit! Who played Carl Denham and the comedian, the funny guy?
Jack Black.
Jack Black, yeah, he played Carl Denham. They stuck with that. They, the new one dived a little more into his character, but even in the first one, you get this idea that he's a shiesty Hollywood director, producer guy, whatever. I forgot my point. I totally fucking forgot my point. But anyway,
it happens. Divide by 4 and figure it out.
I don't know what the fuck that means, dude. But it was just the replication of all that was great, is what I'm saying. They kept the character stories the same. They changed, like, Jack Driscoll, the love interest.
Yes.
They changed it a little bit. Like in the original, it was the first mate on the ship, and then in this one, it was Carl Denham's writer. But it was still like sort of this guy that was put into the situation to try and save her.
So I kind of blew it in the beginning, but because I just don't read the fucking emails that Steve sends because they're grueling. But
you heard it
and
first.
It's grueling as a 3.5 hour Kong remake.
There is nothing is as grueling.
Yo, dude,
nothing is as grueling as that.
He's texting me. He's texting me every 5 fucking minutes last night because he's watching another movie that we had to watch for the guy
that we had on before this.
Yes.
And I'm texting about that movie while he's watching Kong.
I'm trying to fucking watch King Kong, and I'm ignoring him on purpose. And I keep getting these streamlined texts. I'm like, you're worse than fucking Hugh with his memes that he sends me every fucking day. And you,
by the way,
first of all, not the worst, because Hugh and I are exactly the same, and we love each other.
That's right. So let me
I don't
say
have
this.
enough time.
May you someday appreciate Paul and I for those, because we may not be around to send those anymore, Stephen.
There you go.
That's right. You grumpy old fuck.
But hey, I want to off-road for one quick second. This is going to be fast.
No, that's all good.
Michael Crichton, Jurassic Park. His favorite movie is King Kong. You see the pattern.
Yeah.
He wrote Congo.
I just wanted to say, Michael Crichton, Eaters of the Dead, one of my favorite book remakes, 13th Warrior.
There you go.
So look at he was influenced by the first Kong. Jurassic Park comes out of that. He wrote that. So we're seeing the elements of Kong. Then he writes Congo, one of my favorite books ever. It was a trash movie it was turned into, but the book. So Crichton,
I don't know. I got to say, when John Voight got completely regurgitated as a whole body by the snake was pretty compelling.
Oh my God.
Oh man. All right.
There you go.
Well,
anyways, enough of I offered it a bit, but it's Michael Crichton.
But that's a point. That's a point. There's so much. I mean, King Kong influenced so much. Yeah. So much.
All right, so Paul, you were starting to say before we cut you off on all the texts and
dude,
emails and everything
we need to bring
else.
Becca on our episodes when we know we're going to drink before she can moderate for us.
Just keep you guys.
No, I know exactly what she's talking about because you just said before I was interrupted before, and I know you were going to bring up because it came up before.
I didn't realize because I didn't read the email that Steve didn't ask you guys about the third question that we have coming up, which is what movie do you think should never be remade?
Yes.
Airplane.
As the new Airplane comes
worst, best, and never.
There?
No. But no. There's a new Naked Gun. There's a new Naked Gun, and I'm going to be honest with you. The trailers look kind of fucking. They look great. They look funny. There's like put it this way, the scene in Ted 2 when Liam Neeson walks through the register and he's talking about buying tricks for kids. And asking if someone's going to come and basically kick the shit out of him if he buys tricks because they're for kids. I feel like we're going to get a whole movie of that, and I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, I love Liam. I hope. But
it's the first
non-taken
remake that he's done in like 10 years.
I mean, dude, you can't. You'd have to make
it. If he does
so,
Taken with a fucking attitude, I'll be happy.
So like politically correct.
You can't. That's why you can't. It's like all the Mel Brooks films that it's just
true.
You're just gonna have to leave them alone. And I
have a drinking problem.
So basically, every Mel Brooks film should never be remade.
No, never.
Okay,
it's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna go back.
Wait. Before we go back to Warrior, Mel Brooks should never be remade. Taika Waititi is doing a series right now produced by Mel Brooks of Young Frankenstein.
Okay, so that's not a remake. That is a prequel leading to the series, I believe.
It is
leading to the movie.
Young Frankenstein.
Yes. So that I am completely on par with, especially if you're as big a fan of What We Do in the Shadows as I am.
Well, I was going to say, if anybody can remake Mel Brooks, it's Taika Waititi.
But what I am not a fan of is him being on board for the new Dredd remake.
They're doing another
Judge Dredd.
Yeah, they're doing another Dredd.
And Taika has just been signed on to be the director, and I think it's horrible. And the reason is, and I'm just going to say it flat out.
But he's done Marvel.
You didn't read... I don't give a fuck. He did Marvel without reading the source material, and he made fucking garbage.
He got paid good.
I don't give a fuck if he got paid. He made us garbage. Thor Ragnarok was phenomenal. I loved every second of it. I probably watched it more than any Marvel movie ever. The first movie he directed. Then he does the next Thor movie, which was the biggest pile of shit I've ever fucking seen in my life because he had no hinkling. And he's like, yeah, I didn't read the source material. I didn't care. I just made a movie.
And stay tuned for our sequels roundtable. But you were going to say Warriors.
Yeah, I just feel strongly about it because that was another one that being a kid from New York also, and you guys can relate to this. It was just
definitely, bro.
That era, that bygone era of that gritty, and I remember the train rides out to Yankee Stadium, and I just knew I knew that world like so well, and I thought
like unless you decide to take Penn Station and turn it into a fucking movie studio. You could never remake the Warriors.
You cannot remake it.
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
But Airplane's on that list. Airplane, Becca, is definitely on that list.
Well,
do you ever watch Gladiator movies, Billy?
Yeah. You ever seen a grown man naked?
Never seen a grown man naked.
Surely you must be mistaken.
Surely you must be mistaken. Oh my God! You see,
I speak jive.
Oh my God! There's so many. So many great lines.
It's become part of the culture. Gosh. Like if something becomes part of the culture, you should not remake it.
Yeah,
true. That's a good point.
So my choice for should never be remade was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yep.
Now, but why?
I couldn't tell you other than it's just perfect. I mean, there are a few movies that I feel like are just perfect, and I feel like it's just perfect. Kind of like Back to the Future. Like I basically think no Steven Spielberg movie should ever be remade.
Some movies right now, they're like, why don't you think it should be remade? And my reasoning is simple as been like the film, the aspect ratio. what you were going to see is not going to be the same as what you saw back then. And that's part of what makes a movie. Like when they try and take a 70s period piece. Okay, fuck it. I'm going to go there. The new Fantastic Four movie looks like a giant pile of shit for the same reason that we didn't like the Hobbit movies over the Lord of the Rings, because they changed the film rate and the aspect ratio and the way that they shot it, and there's no way to make it look old. It just looks fucking new and shiny and doesn't fit to the fucking eye of people who were in that era and that have seen movies from that era.
And
that's a great point.
Pretty soon we'll have vertical TVs instead of horizontal TVs, and then we're all doomed.
Right? And then we're all going to be fucking, and then we're all going to be 6'2".
And back to Becca's early on, ET cannot be touched. You cannot. Please.
That is great, Becca.
Spielberg again.
Yeah, Spielberg.
You cannot.
See?
Don't touch Spielberg.
I mean, right down to the Reese's Pieces, man. Like you just, you can't remake that.
Jaws.
Ever.
And back to Roadhouse, Paul, on
yours,
the ratio, the road back to Roadhouse, part of that was the camera angles and the a wide shot as opposed to extreme close up and the vomit comet, because back then they didn't have it, and that's what made them so beautiful. And they would shoot slow burns and wide shots more often.
They would have to capture the real. It's different when you have to capture the real life.
That's right.
If you go back and watch you see this, if you go back and watch King Kong and The Thing again, exactly what he was talking about. The long one takes. You see the whole scene play out. Maybe they push in a little bit. Maybe they pull out a little bit.
True camera work.
But the cameras were huge. They couldn't do what we do now. But it's like,
that's what I mean. When they really needed to.
Yeah, you're letting the actors perform. It's almost like they were still in that middle ground. They're still coming from theater
in their bubble.
Yeah. And King Kong too. Like, in fact, one of the things, if you watch the original King Kong that I didn't like, but I understand why they did it, was they would have all this amazing stop motion stuff, and then they would cut away to the big, giant, practical King Kong head or hand, and it couldn't compete with the stop motion Kong.
All right. I'm looking at the clock. So we're going to move on. So my never remake is The Princess Bride.
Oh, of course.
Ooh.
Basically because it is the most perfect movie ever made in the entire universe of movies.
It really is, and it's inconceivable. It's inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
A remake
to make that movie.
A remake is inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
But I do have an idea. I think we all agree. I don't even need to talk about it.
You kill my remake, and
everybody knows. Okay, everybody knows why. Princess Bride, we all agree, right? We're not going to go into it. We're going to move on to Steve's. But very quickly, I think what would be a great series is a series about the Dread Pirate Roberts. And at the end of every series, they take on the new Dread Pirate Roberts until they come to Wesley. I think that would be awesome.
And Taika Waititi can direct it? Like Black
Yes, yes. He can direct anything that there's no fucking source material for.
No source material.
There you go.
Oh.
Do you guys have any other should never be remades as we exit this amazing table? Yeah, it was Butch Cassidy. Butch
Cassidy.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Pulp Fiction. I don't think you should ever.
No, but I think we're talking about movies that like.
Well, I agree. Pulp Fiction.
But Pulp Fiction should never be remade. But in a weird way, I'm like, why would that even be in the fucking? Who could remake Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, but
nobody. Yeah, that's kind of what.
That's the point,
like,
right?
Okay, I mean, I guess, but in the same way, I'm like, that movie is so exponential. I wouldn't even consider it of anyone being able to attempt to remake that.
Yes, but that's what we thought about Naked Gun, and that's what we thought about Fall Guy. And
shit, my mind has just been blown.
Like who would remake Point Break?
Which goes to our another question that we have is
they did
name one movie that we've started asking our upcoming guests is what's one movie that you think every upcoming filmmaker or someone who wants to be in film should have to watch? So this doesn't fucking happen.
I have mine.
Well, I'll say Hooper, and that's also one that they should never remake. So.
Right. Hooper, fantastic.
Hal directed that?
Hal Needham.
Yes, that's Hal.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well, and Cannibal. Speaking of Hal Needham,
Cannonball Run
never
1 and 2.
remake Cannibal
Run
or 2. Cannonball Run and 2, never. Anything with Dom DeLuise or Tom Selleck should never be fucking remade.
Selleck.
I mean,
Burt Reynolds.
Sorry, it was a mustache. It's totally the mustache.
It was the sake and the mustache.
So good.
Definitely.
And look, you guys, Caddyshack cannot be touched. I mean, you're not going to touch.
Yes,
but what are you gonna do?
Remake.
Never.
What are you going to do? Do all that coke and rewrite a script that didn't exist and then shoot a movie?
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, Caddyshack is so good.
So good.
But it's so good because it never was. There was nothing in Caddyshack to remake except for the movie.
Yeah, but now there's a movie, and some producer somewhere is like, we could remake this, and people
they were shooting Caddyshack, and they were at the end of it, and they were like, dude, do you know that we don't have a scene with Chevy Chase and Bill Murray? We should shoot one.
Yeah.
And then they go and they shoot the pool. Like, pool pond's good for you.
Mm. Well, that's kind of like the De Niro Pacino scene in Heat, right? They had never been in a scene together prior to that.
And
that's right.
And what's crazy is that now, if you're like, but if you do your homework, they've been in so many movies together since that scene.
Oh yeah, since then for sure.
But I always find that was that first scene between the two of them so fucking intense, and
so good. So good.
If you came up in the film era that we all came up in, where they are the pinnacle, the fucking Godfather, Scarface, all of them in a movie, in a fucking scene together, and then they fucking talk. That scene was epic.
We grew up with all of those. Serpico, Taxi Driver, and then here they are in a diner in Santa Monica having a conversation.
In a fucking Michael Mann movie.
Whoa.
With a complete and total Miami Vice vibe.
Oh my god.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So another
100%.
movie you can't remake? Heat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would just say, since you brought up Scarface, I had to reach and get my notebook. That Tom Steele, who did the fire burn on the original thing, did stunts on Scarface.
Wow.
How cool is that?
Wow.
And that made me think.
I wrote down
about
this note. Like, his first stunt job, Tom Steele, his first stunt job was 1930 on Lone Star Ranger. And his last
that's so long ago
movie was 1986, Tough Guys, which had like oh my god, Tough Guys. Do you remember that movie? It was with all the old timers.
That's
like,
Sylvester. No,
not Sylvester Stallone. Who was Spartacus? Who was Spartacus?
Oh, yeah. That was
his son just retired. His son just announced his retirement.
Kirk
Douglas.
Kirk Douglas.
Yeah.
Tough Guys was with Kirk Douglas. It was sort of a tongue-in-cheek sort of mobster movie. So that was like that was Tom Steele's last movie. Talk about a career, 1930 to 1986. But he did.
We could only be so lucky.
Right.
You also made me think of another movie that should never be remade.
Uh-oh.
Falling Down with Michael Douglas.
Oh, that's a great one.
That is
It's a great one. That's a great one.
Yep.
That's a great one.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
If you've ever sat in traffic, you felt a little bit of that movie inside of you.
I don't know why I thought you were going to say Johnny Dangerously, but I thought you were going to say Johnny. Like,
I love Johnny Dangerously.
My mother made a remake once.
My mother hung me on a hook once.
Dude, this was great. We're so glad to have you on again.
This was a lot of fun. This was
cool.
Yeah,
I took a ton of notes here. I'm going to be watching some movies.
Awesome. Very cool, man. Paul, this was a good one.
I'm beside myself right now. I had so much fun, and I'm like, Hugh, fuck these guys. You and I need to stay on and talk.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And Stephen, you'll still receive the memes. I'm sorry, brother, but it's part of the deal. It's part of the deal.
As long as you know that sometimes it takes me a couple weeks to reply.
Put it this way: some people some people roll their eyes at the memes. I get a meme from so Hugh and I have two different groups. There's a group with Steve, and then you and I have a personal group. We have our group that's one-on-one, and I know that when I get a message from Hugh that's one-on-one, that I immediately need to stop what I'm doing and go watch it because it's going to make me laugh my ass off. So I will literally get up from a dead sleep, go into the bathroom to not bother my wife, and watch what Hugh sends me.
And I purposely go, this is one that I'm not going to share with Steven because I know he likes me, and I just want to keep that,
keep it that way.
He's like, but Paul's a sick fuck. I'm going to send it to him.
I already know Hugh.
Paul gets me. He got it.
Hugh is a sick fuck. I already know that because when you gave us your notes on Paul's short film screenplay, I was like, Hugh is fucking insane, dude.
True.
He's fucking nuts.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I mean, like I told my therapist, I could have saved him a lot of time and just given my old diagnosis straight up.
There you
go. They didn't have to die.
Like, dude, I'm fucked up. Good. Keep me in a room. Give me a book.
And on that note, if you feel like training jiu-jitsu, Hugh teaches in LA. Look him up.
That's right. That's
there
right.
You go.
And you'll get stories about movies, just like we did here. It's really good. So this is
awesome. You'll get your jaw ripped open.
Yeah, and then we can talk about how to rip open.
I mean, who doesn't want to know how to do that? I think that's a very, very valuable skill.
And everybody check out Poker Face Season 2. Just wrapped. The finale just dropped, and it was Becca, you did an amazing fucking job.
Awesome, Becca.
Thank you.
Tom Place
it was a lot
2.
Of fun.
Tom Place nominated for an Emmy. Hopefully by the time this drops, we'll know the answer. We'll know the deal. But you guys rock, and we're so glad you were on the show.
Thanks you guys.
So much for coming on, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Film Fights with Friends is produced by Stephen Koepfer, Paul Varacchi, Press Record Studios, and Breakfall Studios. This episode was engineered by Richard Butler. This show is powered by our supporters at Patreon and is a registered trademark of Film Fights with Friends, LLC. Original theme by Ahrue Luster.